Here are the 10 biggest mistakes students make in AP Calculus. The first mistake is forgetting the limit does not depend on the point itself. For example, if we have this function over here, you want to find limit at x equals -2, which is this point right here, which has a dot in it. Well, many students assume that since h-2 is not defined, the limit is not defined as well, but in reality it is, and in this case it's around -6, because that's where the h approaches infinitely but doesn't touch, but that's still a limit. The second mistake is the cardinal sin, and the cardinal sin is when you have the derivative of a product of two polynomials, you simply multiply the derivatives of these two separate polynomials, and the same goes for a quotient. Well, this is extremely incorrect and is a very common mistake, particularly when you first begin derivatives. And in reality, you should be using the product and quotient rule to find these derivatives, and this is a very, very common mistake, as I've just previously mentioned. The third mistake is forgetting to multiply the chain and chain rule. So say you want to find the derivative of sine of 2x and you write it as cosine of 2x. Well, this is a very common mistake because the chain rule, as you can see at the end, there is u prime, which is the chain. And in this case, we did not multiply by the chain. And the correct answer would be multiplying by 2, since 2 is a derivative of 2x, which is the thing inside of the function, the parent function is cosine, and 2x is the function inside the function, which is the chain. You have to multiply by derivative, which is 2. Mistake 4 is not adding dx in integration. This is more of a notation-based problem. And for example, if you have this, well, this is correctly evaluated. The antiderivative of 2x is indeed x squared, meaning that the integral of 2x is x squared plus c. But in the AP test, this would lose the point because they did not add the dx. So again, on the AP test, this is crucial, and not adding the dx will lose you all the points. And a similar mistake is forgetting to plus c in indefinite integrals. So this is a very classic error, and like a mistake is writing the integral like this. Well, you all know you should be adding the plus c. And again, not adding this will cost you the point on AP test. This is very, very important. But what is also a mistake is adding plus c in the wrong time, particularly in definite integrals, like this case. Remember, a definite integral is it's a constant. It's the constant area under the curve, which does not require plus c, which is for generalized functions that are seen in indefinite integrals. And mistake number 7 is not changing the bounds in u substitution. So here I'll provide an example. Say you want to evaluate this integral and you substitute u equals x squared plus 1, and therefore you write the integral as this, and therefore your integral turns into this bad boy over here. So, and then you plug in the 0 and 1, find the antiderivative, and there you go, 2/3. This is wrong. The bounds are incorrect, because notice how when we change u to x squared plus 1, we need to do that to the bounds too. So the bounds are no longer 0 and 1. We have to change them like we see over here, and our bounds are actually 2 and 1. And if we plug in the values like so, we get this answer over here instead of 2/3. Mistake number 8 is forgetting that f prime x equals 0 does not imply that there is a maxima or a minima at that given point. So you need to make sure the sign of the derivative changes as well. So here are some examples. So notice how here the derivative starts off negative, then goes positive. That's a relative minima. It goes from positive to negative, relative maxima. But here, there's no change in the sign of the derivative as it approaches from the left and as it goes away to the right. They are positive either way. The slope is always increasing. I mean, the points are always increasing. The slope is positive. And therefore, this is actually the graph of y equals x cubed. And yeah, here's the example where the derivative at x equals 0 is 0, but it is neither a maxima nor a minima. So number 9 mistake is using L'Hopital's rule when you are not supposed to. Only use this rule when you're plugging in results to a limit, plug in the value to a limit that add the results in an indeterminate form. So that is 0, 0, or infinity over infinity. And an example such as this, if you plug in x equals 5, it does not result in either of these forms. You can try it yourself, but in this case, you cannot use L'Hopital's rule. You can just directly substitute x equals 5 in. This is a pretty big mistake that is commonly seen as well. So number 10, and this is in my opinion, the biggest one is forgetting units or context. Your answer will depend on the context of the problem. So for example, time and speed is always positive, but velocity can be negative. This is a very important distinction between speed and velocity. Speed is positive, velocity can be negative if the object is traveling backwards. Units are also very important, and like many of the other mistakes, if you forget them, you will lose the point on the AP test. But that is it for the top 10 mistakes students make in AP Calculus. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, make sure to subscribe. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. So, yeah, this is actually, as you might have noticed, this is my first video on this channel. I used to be posting videos on a channel called speedmath.cs, which I will be linking in the description below, but due to some issues within the organization, I have left the organization, and yeah, I am now locked out of that account as well, despite making a majority of the videos on there, which I feel is unfair, but I guess since I left, I can't really say much. But yeah, go watch the videos there as well. Yeah.